Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Flipside Podcast. I'm your host, Retro Ralph. We got an exciting show for you today because there was some major news that rocked the pinball community. It's something that was been near and dear to people's hearts for a really long time, and it's back. So we're going to talk about that. I'm gonna kill the music because I'm so amped up and excited about this particular show because there's actually a lot of news, there's rumors, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I figured let's just talk about all of it. So even though the main topic is on the thumbnail, there's so many more things that we have to talk about. But I'm gonna try to keep it quick, like I always do, get you in, get you out. But one of the first pieces of exciting news is that we actually have our very first sponsor, and that sponsor is Zach and Nicole Minnie from Flippin' Out Pinball. So if you're looking for a new or used pinball machine, definitely go check out Flippin' Out Pinball. They are distributors for a ton of pinball manufacturers: Spooky, Jersey Jack, Stern, Chicago Gaming, Barrels of Fun, American, Pedretti, you name it. They're pretty much everybody. So if you're looking for a newer used pinball machine, go check out Flippin' Out Pinball. Zach and Nicole Minnie, really good people. So we're going to get started. The first thing that we need to talk about is the TWIPYs are back. There was some, issues with the TWIPYs last year. They decided not to do it. And I think a lot of people were disappointed because the TWIPYs are really fun. It's a way for, I should reset really quick. Some of you may not know what the TWIPYs are. So it's a community-based award show around all things pinball. So there's a bunch of really cool topics and categories that people can win. So not only is it geared toward pinball content creators, like myself or like Carrie Hardy or like Erica's Pinball Journey or like Don's Pinball Podcast or, whoever, pick your person, Canada. There's content creator awards. So your favorite content creators can win awards and you can vote for them starting here soon. I believe the voting opens up next week. No, sorry. The voting will open up on January 3rd. So on January 3rd, I'll probably do a podcast just to announce that the TWIPY voting is open. And I don't know, maybe I'll be in one of those categories. I don't know. But before I go through all the rest of the categories, I'm actually a host on the show. So I'm going to be co-hosting the show with several other people. So Aaron Winnick Anthony is going to be my sort of host and co-host with Jamie Burchell over at the Wormhole. So he's kind of like the main host, and then it's Aaron and I who are going to do we're going to actually announce who the winners are and talk a little bit and be sort of your MCs through the whole event. And then Ian Jacoby from Nudge Magazine, a good friend of mine, is also going to be sort of a roaming reporter kind of thing. And I think that's perfect for Ian. Ian's a really cool dude, super funny. Ian just has this natural way of being funny. He's just like funny all the time. I mean, he's not like, he's serious when he needs to, but I don't know. Anyways, he's probably going to listen to this and be like, he's going to text me and be like, what are you even talking about? He is the coolest guy in all of pinball. So, Ian Jacoby, and also he runs Nudge Magazine. So there you go. The committee is gigantic this year. So Colin at the Kineticist is the one who really is the main person behind all of this. And then he built a big team of people. You've got Aaron Seiden, Erica from Erica's Pinball Journey, Rob Rath, you may know him from the Electric Playground, Aaron Davis from Fast Pinball, Ryan Gratzer from Pinball Map, and Will Oding, I think is how you say his name, from This Week in Pinball. So there's a lot of people involved in this. So there's a lot of work to try to put this event together. The event's going to be scheduled to be a live event at Wormhole Pinball in Texas. There are limited tickets available. I will have a link in the description to that. So if you want to check that out and be a part of the show and be able to be there live, that's probably going to be the most fun way to enjoy it. But it's going to be streamed on YouTube, on the Wormhole YouTube channel. So there's a lot of logistics that have to happen here. But hey, you got a crack team of people. We're going to make it happen. But I'm very, very honored to be a part of this because there's a rich history of some very big hosts and some very exciting people that you've known for a long time in pinball. Carrie Hardy's hosted the show. Emoto's hosted the show. Jack Danger. I believe Todd Tucky did at one point, if I remember right. But yeah, Zach Minnie has hosted the show. So lots of people have hosted this show. So to be a part of this is a big deal for me, especially because this is something that I've been so passionate about. And really, my journey's been a shorter period of time than a lot of people. And so to be even part of the show or even be considered to be a part of the show is pretty awesome. So I'm very, very excited about this. And I think we're going to have a ton of fun. So if you can join, that would be awesome. I will be there live on location in Texas on the day of the show. So that's going to be on Saturday, February 22nd. And also the cool thing is some of the things that you'll be able to have access to. You'll get early venue access to the wormhole, and everything will be on free play. There'll be definitely opportunities to be a part of the live show yourself if you're there. And I think they're going to have, there's a brewery that's sponsoring it, so that's awesome. Beer and pinball, what better combination is there than that? And yeah, there'll be some TWIPY swag merch stuff. So yeah, there's tons of things. I'll give you more information as it comes, but let's go back real quick and pivot to the categories. So I'm not going to run through every category because there's going to be a lot of awards. So Aaron and I are going to be really busy opening lots of envelopes. But what I love about this is it's like, all right, we all love this hobby so much, right? And there's games that there's games that we play throughout the year, and we start to form our opinion of what our best releases were that year. And now we can vote on these as, that's the kind of the cool part about the show, right? So you as the community get to vote. Who is my favorite podcast? I have a favorite podcast. No, it's not my own podcast, but I have a podcast that I really like that I listen to a lot. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah, so I personally have a favorite podcast that I like to listen to, but I also listen to almost all of them. So I love and support all of the other, content creators out there. But so the Content Creator Awards have categories. There's Content Creator of the Year. There's Breakout Content Creator of the Year, Best Podcast, Best Video Content Creator / Streamer, Best Publication. So that covers the Content Creator Awards. So there's those 5 awards. Then there's Commercial Game Awards. So this would be like the major manufacturers, like who's the game of the year, who had the most innovative game that year. There's a tribute to Lyman Sheets about the best rules in code. So really cool stuff, right? So I'll go through a couple more. They also recognize the homebrew. We're going to recognize the homebrew and custom game awards. There's going to be a homebrew game of the year and then a custom game of the year. There's also location pinball awards. Now I'm a little biased on this, but I don't pick these winners. You guys pick these winners. But if I had to say best location in the U.S. Southwest, you know who I'm going to pick probably there. Because it's the best location in the Southwest, but we'll see. May the best arcade / pinball location win. But that's why it's so important that you vote for your favorite one. And then there's a Toppers Mods and Accessories. That's something I love. I'm always modding my pinball machines, so I'm a big fan of that. So I'm going to be very interested to see who wins that, because I've actually participated and modded a lot of games last year with a lot of the more popular mods from like Stumbler, Electric Playground, and things like that. So I think that's going to be an interesting category to see who wins that. And there's been so many of these. It's crazy to me the amount of work. Most of these people, this isn't their full-time job. They do it on the side, or they would like it to be their full-time job. So they invest a lot of time of their own time into making these like amazing modifications for all these pinball machines that we like. And it's not easy to do, I mean, the time and money and effort it takes to do it. I have no idea what kind of return they make on that, but usually a lot of times stuff like that just is for the passion and isn't necessarily a huge moneymaker. But so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then there's some additional awards, and there'll be several sponsors. I think Colin's working on some more sponsors for the show. So yeah, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor the show, definitely reach out to Colin at Kineticist, and he will. I'm sure he would love to hear from you. So yeah, that's the exciting news. The most exciting news to me right now is that the TWIPYs are back. We're going to be able to vote, and I think being able to, even though it's not going to be at Texas Pinball Festival, this is a reboot. Give us some time. It's going to be the first year. There's probably going to be a couple bumps in the road, but there's a big team behind this supporting it. So we're going to try our best to do the best to bring this thing back, reboot it, and it should be great and moving forward. So, anyways, thank you to everybody that's involved and for considering me. I think it's awesome, and I'm honored to be a part of the show. So lots of people that are involved with that, but what's going on in the rumor mill stuff? There's definitely a lot going on in the rumor mill area, and there's some weird information or weird rumors lately that I'm not really sure what's going on with that. So, yeah, it's odd because we've heard a lot of games be floated around lately. The one rumor or the hottest rumor that keeps on coming up, or the one that seems to have the most backing is Dungeons and Dragons by Stern. But then more recently, and I have no idea the validity of this data or information, is Canada's Pinball podcast had said that he felt they were going to flip-flop those games. We've all heard Kong as a rumor for a long time, and that would be a Keith Elwin game. And Dungeons and Dragons would be Dwight and Brian Eddy. So I don't know. Like, that's an interesting one because the rumor is that those games are going to flip in the timeline. And just, I don't even know, just so you know, disclaimer, I don't know if either one of those are actually happening. This is all rumor stuff, but those are pretty strong rumors for Dungeons and Dragons. That's a pretty strong rumor and been one for a while. The Kong thing has floated in and out, so I believe that to be true too, but whether you believe that the timelines are going to be flipped or not, I'm not sure. So the current rumor is that they're going to accelerate Kong and then put Dungeons and Dragons after it. So if that is the case, if that's actually true, then how I believe this would happen is at CES, which happens in January. I believe CES is January. I used to go to CES every year. I don't really attend that show much anymore because it's more consumer electronics to me. Like, yes, Stern has a presence, but of course, the years that I decide not to go, Stern's announcing games there. So anyways, last year, I think was it last year? I can't remember. Last year, did they bring a game to CS as an announcement, or am I getting that confused with the Comic-Con? I think they brought Venom to Comic-Con. I can't remember. Maybe it was Jaws. Did they bring Jaws to CES? I can't remember. Maybe they did. Maybe Jaws was, I can't remember. I'm losing track of time. I can't remember what happened yesterday. By the way, speaking of yesterday, before we continue with the rumors, we're at a work event. I've been traveling everywhere. I've been all over the place lately. It's been really hard for me to keep track of things, but I've been all over the map, and I support most of the United States except for East Coast. So I support Central and West in the United States for my job. And so I went out to Denver, Colorado, and we did this, if you work for any larger company, they do these team building events. And I actually really like that kind of stuff. I love one-on-one interactions with people. It's where I feed so well off of other positive people and positive energy. It's just something it's a way I've always sort of been. And I just feel like we work a lot remotely now. So when I do get in face to face with people and the rest of the team, it's just a really fun thing. And I love trying to bring people up too. Although I need other people to energize me sometimes as well. I can't always be the shining light, right? Although that's kind of how my personality is, but sometimes I need that too from other people. And so these events really help me get reconnected with the people I work with. Anyways, at least the Denver, Colorado team. But they did a team building event, and it was pickleball. And if you asked me about pickleball, I probably would have been like, I don't know, man. It's like old people play it or something. That's what I would have said. And I have no idea whether that's true. I don't follow it. But I didn't know that there's tons of people that love pickleball. But so we went and played it, and I got to admit, I was really not excited. I was like, I'm not really, and then it's always awkward when you're doing something that's a sport with people you work with, because then you start being like, are they judging me? Am I going to be bad at it? So anyways, I really had fun with it. It's really fun, but holy crap, I am so sore right now. I don't know why, but the top of my ass hurts. I have no idea what thing I was doing, but the top of my ass is so sore. So it actually hurts to sit. I don't know what's going on, man. You must use some weird muscles, but I was getting into it. I was running. It was the most I've moved in at least 3 to 4 years. I was running around, man. But anyways, so pickleball, who would have thought? So yeah, this podcast is now sponsored by Pickleball. The place was called Epic Pickleball in somewhere in Colorado. I never know where I am, by the way. If I don't have GPS, I have no idea where I am. And even with GPS, it just tells me where to go, and I still don't know where I am. Especially in a landlocked state, if I have the ocean, I know, all right, when you lived on the East Coast, I'm like, all right, ocean east, I'm good. And when I lived on the West Coast, ocean west, I'm good. Otherwise, I have no freaking clue where I am. So let's get back to the rumors. So this whole idea that Stern is going to flip-flop the titles would be interesting, because if that does happen, that means Kong is going to be Keith Elwin game that comes out around the CES timeline, and I would think they'd bring it there. The other rumor, and some of this was from Nap Arcade too, is that would be the introduction of Spike 3. So with Spike 3, that would be Stern's updated platform, because currently we're on Spike 2. I have no idea. I was really hoping when we went to Stern and did that factory tour that George Gomez would give us a hint as to what things would be involved in Spike 3. So I don't know. All I can think about is I'm sure they're going to significantly update the lighting system. I'm sure the processor itself is going to be a much faster processor, so they can probably accommodate more accessories, that the game could have. There's some rumor that the LCD screen could be larger. I hope it doesn't get too large, though, because, I don't know, some people really like that large LCD on a Jersey Jack. I don't know, man. When you're playing pinball, though, like, I'm not looking at the LCD much, so I don't really care whether the LCD is larger or not. I actually think the size is fine, but if they do go larger, I hope it doesn't impact the artwork too much. I actually really enjoy that. Or one of the things I really like about a Stern pinball machine or a Spooky or American is that the artwork is front and center, and the LCD doesn't take away from the back glass artwork, and that seems traditional to me. And I'm kind of, if you know me from the arcade world, I really am nostalgic for the things that are older and things that kind of feel and look nostalgic to me. And so I feel like a modern Stern or a modern Spooky or maybe not American. American has fooled with their cabinets a couple times, but they look, or CGC, like they look like, the same kind of older school cabinet designs, and I like that. So I hope they don't mess with it too much. George Gomez on a podcast somewhere did talk about how he's like, look, I want it to still look good in a lineup. So I don't think it's going to be a drastic change from an aesthetic standpoint, but I do think they're going to significantly upgrade probably the componentry so that we can accommodate more accessories and it can feel a little bit more modern. I'm assuming there's probably going to be some more maybe horsepower thrown in there for Insider Connected. I would love to see a camera for Insider Connected. So one of the things that I really hope they do is really beef up and give the game more capabilities around Insider Connected for maybe even like being able to participate in a tournament remotely with your machine or something, being able to do like head to head with a friend that has the same game. Like there's so many cool things that they could do there. I like to promote location play as much as I can because I've been having so much fun with that. Speaking of that, before we close off on the rumor thing, I did, I'm on week 3 of my electric bat tournament. So you guys know I was like all hopped up because that first week I won first place. Well, it's been going progressively worse since then. So of course I didn't think I'd come back for week 2 or week 3 and get first place. Like it was one of those weird days where I was locked in. I was playing really well. I don't know, like fundamentally, I felt like I was doing all the right things. I also have this weird notion that maybe when I love going to pinball with my friend Rudy. Like he's a really good friend of mine, but I don't know if like I get in my own head when I have someone else with me, because I felt like I don't usually go to pinball tournaments alone, and I felt like I had no pressure, no stress, and that first week I went, and I kind of want to say that I do truly feel like that's why I did well, because I didn't care. I don't know, like when I'm with a friend, maybe I'm like, in my subconscious mind, I'm trying to impress him or make sure I play well in front of my friend, and it makes it worse. I don't know. But I'm not saying I don't want to go to play pinball with my friend. I think I need to just get over this mental weird thing I do to myself. But yeah, week 3, which we just did this week, wasn't the best. I was kind of like bottom of the barrel, but the week 2, I was in the middle of the road. So, but anyways, I played some fun games. Andromeda, I had never played, is really fun. It's very limited. I think they only made 500. I don't know how many of those are left in the world now, but, and I played, was it Twilight Zone? No, I can't remember. There was one other game that I played that I did I did okay on Mandalorian. So I don't know. Whirlwind, I sucked. I sucked wind on Whirlwind. It was terrible. I know Whirlwind is a beloved game, but man, it's funny when you have a bad game on a game, you're like, I hate this game. It's so funny. And then if you have a good game, you're like, this game is awesome. It's so funny, man. Like I hated Hot Doggin' because I sucked so bad at it. And then like one of the weeks I did really well at it. Like Hot Doggin's the best game ever. So it's just funny. It's just funny, man. It's funny how like, anyways, we're human beings. We were weird. Anyway, so all right, so let's move off Stern. The next would be Jersey Jack. Now, I know Harry Potter was the rumor, but Matrix was the rumor for a long time. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I don't care. I've seen the movies with my kids because when my kids were little, they wanted to see them. I don't care about Harry Potter. I really, really don't. I know that I'm going to get beat up for that. I know a lot of you probably love Harry Potter. I just don't give a crap about Harry Potter. I rode the ride in Universal. That was great. The butterbeer, whatever the hell it is. Cool, awesome, don't care. I mean, I'll play it when it comes out. I hope Jersey Jack makes it amazing. They need a win. Like, Jersey Jack, you have all of the pieces. And I love Ken Cromwell. He's an awesome guy. Met Ken. We instantly connected. I want them to have a win. But I want the win to be the Matrix. I just feel like that would be such an epic pinball machine. Even though a lot of time has gone by since the Matrix, I think we all loved that movie. If you're around my age range, if you're like in your late 30s to mid 40s, probably 50s, you probably really enjoyed The Matrix. So I hope it's The Matrix. Although, hey, if it's I always say like Harry Potter. It's not. I can't say. I feel like Harry, and Harry sound the same when I say them, and it's not Harry Potter, which would be really funny. It's Harry. See, I'm from the East Coast, so sometimes, and I've lost my accent, but it's like, Harry, hey, it's Harry Potter, like Harry, hey, like, I don't know. It's just, I can't say it. Harry and Harry sound exactly the same. So, I don't know, dude. If they made a Harry Potter, see, you don't even know that I'm trying to say hair because it sounds the same. Anyways, it's not Harry, it's Harry. See? They sound the same. Anyways, but I would just be a big fan if they did The Matrix. So we'll see what happens there. Either way, I think if they could do either one of those games really well, like, they just need a win. Like, I want Jersey Jack to have momentum. They just don't have any momentum. And I think they're so weird about the themes they pick. And I just feel like, I don't know, they seem a bit out of touch with what people want. Like, I like Elton John, but I just feel like Elton John, the current generation buyer, is just, to me, not, and probably the pinball demographic as a whole it's like that. Elton John is not going to be the one that you want. Now, when I look at like rock bands, I feel like when you choose something like Metallica or Foo Fighters, I feel like now you're kind of getting more into that core demographic, Beastie Boys, stuff like that. I don't know. Anyways, just making me think about music pinball machines. I'm just also so surprised that no one's ever tried to do like some kind of, like something maybe a little bit more like a Linkin Park pinball machine, even though I know there's a virtual Linkin Park that someone made, but like, like think of those kinds of bands. There's just so many, or even like rolling in some kind of hip hop or rap or R&B kind of, I don't know. They haven't done any of that kind of stuff. So I think anyway, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I feel like with music, it's like pick things that are relevant that people get excited about. All right, we're going to move on to the next one because I don't want the show to go too long. And I do want to go to I have 3 voicemails that came in. And so I'm grateful that you guys are sending those voicemails in, but I want to make sure I can get to those. So we have American Pinball, who is supposedly still releasing Cuphead, although I don't understand their timeline for that. They have not announced it yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. Talk about a company that needs a win. American is just like, wow, like they have sort of fallen off the map, in my opinion, because Galactic Tank Force, even though I enjoyed it, I wouldn't buy it. I just felt like when I've played it on location, there's some weird things. The ball lock sometimes doesn't work, and it just felt like they had some reliability issues with it. I really don't like the decision to keep the tank so close, and then the little shield thing doesn't work sometimes, or it's broken. So I don't know, like I can't get real hype about American because I feel like they've had a bunch of weird starts and stops, and then you look at the barbecue game is just like, it's just weird. It's weird. It's just a weird theme. Like I have a hair on my microphone or something. It's probably a dog hair. I don't know, man. The barbecue thing, I played it at Expo and I'm all, okay. Like it was, the ball locks were pretty easy. So I felt like it was an easy game to pick up and play. You could get multi-ball fairly easy. I didn't really like deep dive into the rule set, but it just didn't do anything for me. And when I'm looking at the back glass and it looks like I'm looking at like someone's, camcorder footage of them slicing meat, it is so weird. I just don't understand like who that speaks to. So I can't think that anybody at American, and I know the game was like in the mind of, I can't remember Barry O, who had passed away. So I can appreciate the tribute to him and everything, but maybe they could have done it in a different way. Like maybe released a super limited version of it, like 50 games or 100 games, which I even think you'd have a hard time selling 100. But I don't know how many of those they sold. But anyways, it's just weird. But so the next one for American is going to be Cuphead. Cuphead is a cool looking video game. I actually really liked Cuphead because Cuphead translated well to arcade controls. So I have played Cuphead like on an actual arcade cabinet. Again, that wouldn't be one I would pick to make a pinball machine of, though. There's so many gaming franchises. On the last podcast, I talk about it, like Castlevania or Sonic the Hedgehog. There's like so many. Mario obviously has been done before, but there's just so many video game franchises that I would pick over Cuphead. I think from a artwork perspective, Cuphead's going to probably look really cool. If you do the artwork on that, I think it would look neat. But anyways, I don't get that one. So let's pivot back to Spooky really quick. There's always been a rumor of Beetlejuice or the Goonies. I'm telling you right now, if Spooky's next game was the Goonies, I think that would be it would be my first Spooky game I would buy. The Goonies would be an instant, so nostalgic for the Goonies, but that's what I mean. Like, that is the right, do that. Like, Goonies, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, like those are all, I know Ghostbusters has been done, but holy crap, in modern times, like put Spike 3 on a Ghostbusters, maybe weave in some of the newer movie stuff, and it's like, you got a hit right there. I just don't feel like they're picking movie franchises that speak to us. I will say, I know there's like been a bunch of heat on John Wick, and I think when I talk about John Wick, people automatically think that I have some kind of stake in that, or because they invited me, that's why I like it. I bought the game, and I love John Wick. I will admit, the modes are still a mess. Like, they don't make any sense, really. It's just like, yeah, shoot a bunch of lit stuff. The modes feel incomplete. But the new Lights Out feature is cool. I am liking the game more as the code updates, so I'm encouraged that I think if they keep going down that road, and Tim Sexton keeps kind of putting some spin and flair on the code, I think that game is going to end up being one of those games that everyone sort of, or a large majority of the community kind of dissed at first, and then they kind of jump on board with, maybe similar to how James Bond was, which, by the way, James Bond is one of my favorite games, and I still regret selling it to this day. So that's kind of it. The other thing, there was also some rumors for Chicago Gaming Company of Halo, Halo the video game being a pinball machine. I don't know about that. I do like Halo though. Halo was like that's probably when I started getting out of console gaming. When the original Xbox came out, I did have Halo, and that was like my first, I want to say, that would have been around the time where I had my first apartment. So I remember like my buddy coming over and we would just do nothing but play Halo together. So I'm cool. I would like to see it. I think you could do some cool things with Halo, but I'm not sure that's going to be like an instant hit or not. It might be. I don't know. The other thing is, obviously, Dutch Pinball has been rumored to have Back to the Future all this time. And there was some conversations. I want to say if it was Knapp or it was Colin, I can't remember. But they were talking about how, Dutch might have some issues trying to, like Back to the Future would be a big title. You'd have a lot of interest in Back to the Future. So it's just a matter of, could they even meet the demand of the community as far as like to be able to manufacture enough of them? Because right now they're trying to manufacture Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I have a feeling that's going to take them a very long time. They do not have the manufacturing capability of someone like Stern. So supposedly there was going to be some conversations. Maybe Dutch was going to approach Stern to say, could we kind of like co-make this game? But I don't see, like, my personal opinion on that is I don't see Stern wanting to do that. Although I don't remember where I heard it. I think it was from George Gomez himself when we were at the John Wick thing. I can't remember if it was then or maybe it could have been in someone else's podcast. If so, I apologize. But there was some talks that the team over there had the capability or had the chance to make a Back to the Future at one point, and they passed on it, which is so weird to me. But I guess one of the things that George said is he's like, look, if the design team is going to make a game, I want to make sure they're passionate about it. And he said at the time that no one seemed to have that passion for it, which is so weird to me because Back to the Future is like, I don't really know many people that don't have, at least that are in our age range, that don't have really good positive feelings about that movie, the series of movies, and just like from their childhood. It was like such an impactful movie for me. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if kids these days have this same thing. I feel like when I watched movies like Space Camp growing up, or I can't remember, there was another, Flight of the Navigator, is that the one? I can't remember. There was a lot of movies that came out, Goonies. There's so many movies that came out that were like, that sparked my curiosity, like these fantasy lands, like Labyrinth, that it was just, I don't know, it like piqued your curiosity, and you felt like you were, when you watched it, and maybe it's because I was a kid, but it felt like you escaped to an alternate reality for that hour and a half or that 2 hours that you watched it. And it seemed like magical. And keep in mind at that time, like if you think about like Jim Henson or something like that, like all of those movies were like less sophisticated when it comes to like CGI. Like most of it wasn't CGI. I don't know. There was just this wonder and excitement around and creativity that came out of that. I don't know. My kids, when they were little, you know, they're older now. My daughter's 21 and my son is 17. They don't have that anymore. There isn't like something that like it's because of the stupid phone. Everything there's like this does so much stuff, right? It's like they can hold it in their hand, where for us it was like if we wanted to watch a movie, we were going to a movie theater, or if you were lucky enough to have a VCR, you'd rent a movie and bring it home and huddle around the TV, and there was no distractions. That was your distraction. It was you watching that movie. It wasn't like you were being pinged by all these notifications. So I do feel like in a way our generation really got to enjoy like this like explosion of creativity at that time. And I think things these days, like it's hard for, like I can't imagine kids being all that nostalgic for the kind of content that's created today, because it feels like disposable content to me. There are a couple things that aren't, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of it's disposable, and they don't really feel ever nostalgic about things like we did. And we had the physical media aspects and all that stuff. I mean, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but I'm sure many of you, whether you were into vinyl records or CDs, you would open it up and look at the artwork and read through, like the band would put special notes in there and things like that, or share pictures. Yeah, just, I don't know, man. I kind of yearn for like that old day, and I think that's why, you know, I always pick the name Retro Ralph, because I felt like I really am nostalgic for all that old stuff, and pinball being such a mechanical thing really does like scratch that itch for me. You know, it really does make me feel like I'm doing something that maybe is a little older. But anyways, we're getting on we're over the half-hour mark. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the voicemails as the last thing. So I've got three voicemails. We're going to start with Chad. I don't listen to these things prior, so hopefully none of them are dirty or have anything that I would have to bleep out, because typically I don't really edit these. Actually, I don't. Like, just so you guys know, when I do these podcasts, this is one stream of consciousness. There's no editing in here. I do usually add video footage for the people that are watching it on YouTube, but I do not edit this. Like, I don't do quick cuts. I don't use any AI to take out empty space or anything like that. This is all one take. And that's how it goes. So I do that because I feel like I want it to feel like authentic to you, and yeah, it's just so whatever I say is what I say. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyways, hopefully you guys appreciate the fact that it's just the raw, unfiltered version. I really, maybe in the beginning I started editing them and I really didn't like the way it was coming out to me. So the first few episodes I did do some editing, and but now all editing I do is for the people that are watching the video version. I do put in video overlays of some of the things I'm talking about, just for some visual, you know, for people that like to enjoy the video part of it. All right, let's check out this first voicemail from Chad and see what Chad has to say.
Hey Ralph, how you doing? I know this is one of your older videos, but I like the black and white version of the Godzilla pinball machine. I like the black and white one better.
Hell yeah, man. Because
the original movie, Gojira, it was called Gojira in Japan, was in black and white. You know, it came out in 1954. You know, so it's a 70th anniversary edition to celebrate the history of the character. It needs to be in black and white because the movie was. I think that pinball machine looks really awesome. And fun fact, because of post-World War II kind of xenophobia, there was an American version of the original Godzilla released in the States where they kind of recut it and made Raymond Burr, who played Perry Mason, they made him the main character because they didn't want to release a movie with Japanese people. You know, there was some racism after World War II with Japanese people. So there's like this other version of the original Godzilla with Raymond Burr. And now that when the original Gojira was released in the United States, you know, that's considered canon. Like people make fun of the Raymond Burr version. So as long as your pinball machine doesn't have Raymond Burr on it, the black and white is awesome. And if it does have Raymond Burr on it, smash it.
Okay, I didn't actually know that. I gotta admit, it was interesting because I feel like Godzilla does fall in the category that of a theme that people initially wouldn't be excited about, but then because the game is so good and the team did so well, Keith Elwin and the team did such an awesome job on that game. It has literally everything you'd want out of a pinball machine. But yeah, no, it is a representation of the original Japanese movies. But yeah, Chad, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Actually, fun fact, I grew up with Chad. I went to school with Chad in high school, so he's from the same hometown that I grew up in, Lincoln, Rhode Island, and Chad and I reconnected through my podcast I used to do called Coffee Talk. And he joined one day, and I was so excited because Chad was one of those guys growing up that he was a super creative mind. He was always writing. And I always gravitated toward and I was a nerdy person myself, but I always gravitated toward the like oddballs and like the outcasts and stuff like that. And I wasn't really part of like a popular group of people. So it was kind of, like, I think Chad was someone I really connected with because he was so creative and he was always writing these cool stories. And I'm going to tell this really quick because we're getting up to 40 minutes, and that's way longer than I usually do the podcast. But there was a principal in our school, and he wore his suspenders so high, like his pants were so high. And so Chad sat behind me. I want to say it was math class. We also had shop class together, but I whispered to Chad, I think in class, I was like, I think the principal came in and I was like, hey man, like he wears his pants so high, doesn't he? I go, it almost sounds like in my mind, I was like trying to share with Chad what I think of when I see him. And I was trying to say it'd be funny if someone could depict him as a character that his pants are so high that he has to unzip his zipper to speak. And like his suspenders would be around his ears. And that he'd have to like unzip his pants and open it up to talk. And he drew that. And I was like, man, at that moment, I was like, man, I wish I had that ability. Cause I have like a creative mind where I can think of some crazy things, but I can't always, I don't draw well. So I couldn't draw that. So I just remember that's like this weird memory from high school that I always remember of Chad. Cause he was so creative. And if I had an idea in my mind, he could bring it to life through art. And that was just always so cool. So I think that's also a reason why, like, that's something I really appreciate is the artwork aspects of a pinball machine. So even though I love playing pinball machines, I think also pinball just incorporates so many of these things that oftentimes sometimes if I'm not playing, I'll like walk into that room and just look at the artwork and just appreciate the machines, just having them on and not even playing them. But by the way, do I play them? Yes, because, and this is exciting, I am on 100 days. Today is my 101-day streak on Stern, but I do have to give a special thank you to Jason Muka, my friend, because I was traveling, so I did cheat. 3 of those days are not my games. So, you know, if you want to take that away from me, fine, but I was that's the only thing that's bummer about Stern. There's if you miss one day, that's it. It resets back to 0. I think there should be some leniency maybe there, or I think they need to adjust their milestone dates because, like, I go from, I think it's, 90 days is a streak, and then it goes from 90 to 120. Like, why isn't there 101? Like, it should almost be like 10-day increments because some of us travel, man. But anyways, let's go to the next voicemail. This is from Gene Gonzalez, and then we're going to need to wrap up the show. So I think I'm only going to do 2 voicemails, and then Wilfredo Diaz, I'm going to have to put him on the next show. I think I bumped him a couple times, and I'm sorry about that. But he'll be on the next one. So this one's Gene Gonzalez. Let's see what he has to say.
Hi, Ralph. Gene from New York. I just want to tell you I love your podcast. I think it's great. And I think it's nice that it's not too long, just the right amount of time.
Yeah, Gene, I apologize because this one is almost going to be over 40 minutes. So he's like, yeah, your podcast is awesome. It's not too long. I'm like, yeah, it's 40 minutes. I really tried to keep it to 22 was my target. But yeah, I blew that on this one.
But I got a quick question. Also, I'm in the hobby the same amount of time as you pretty much. So it's kind of funny. But my question might be silly, but how do you decide on what machine you'll play in your own collection on any given night?
Oh.
I know when we get a new machine, we play the hell out of it. But after that runs out, the initial new machine phase, how do you decide on what you'll play? Just curious to know what someone else's gameplay strategy is. Yeah, that's it. And also, hopefully, we'll see an update on your pinball room on whatever new machines you have. And I always find it interesting, your pinball room. But that's it for now. But keep up the great work, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate you, man. So that's a good question. So Gene's saying, and I think a lot of us struggle with this, right? Especially if you end up with larger. Oh my, I'm gonna burp. I'm so sorry. Okay. I think this is something we all kind of struggle with because you'll have a collection, and as your collection ages, you'll tend to play the newer games a bit more, and then so I don't say I have a real strategy. I definitely go by like how I'm feeling that day, but I have a good variety of games. I think that's important. Like when you're picking what games to buy, like if you had all games with fan layouts, I think you might get bored, right? Or you just so variety is important. Like I feel like Godzilla gives me a bit more variety. There's fun shots and the shot layouts are different. There's the building mechanism, which is a great toy. Then you got Mecha Godzilla. So there's a lot of variety in that game. But then I look over at something like John Wick, and John Wick is like really just left ramp, right ramp. You got the red circle club and then that other middle ramp, and that's kind of it. Like those are the shots for the most part. And you have like the scoop and the chest or whatever, but the ammo chest, whatever you want to call it. So, and then I have Jaws, which, another Keith Elwin game. I just, honestly, I try to make a conscious effort to switch it up, but sometimes it's how I'm feeling is what I'm going to pick. So, or if something new happens, like they did so many updates this summer to Jaws, I kept going back to Jaws. Like I had left Jaws alone for a little while, and then they added The Shark is Broken, and then they added that other, I can't remember the name of it, but the Revenge thing or whatever it was, the thing that was like an 8-bit video game kind of thing. So that's also been helpful, but it's weird. And then I got my Godzilla 70th, and Godzilla 70th like re-sparked my interest in Godzilla. And I still haven't, Godzilla, I like that game because I can play it with different strategies too. Like I can go, hey, you know what? I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to try to do the multi-balls and just kind of have fun. I'm not even going to work through the modes. Maybe I will a little bit, but I'm not going to make it about that. And then there's also the that other mode that was like the King of Monsters mode. So like that's a completely different game if you think about it. So, man, you know what? I really wish, Gene, that I had a good answer for you, but it's kind of more of like when I walk into the room, it's how I'm feeling, and I have a good variety of games that shoot differently. So I think that's important when you're picking a game. And sometimes people pick games for different reasons, right? Some people are just very, very heavy on theme, and then the way it plays is secondary. I think for me, I'm probably the opposite. Over time, I've become the opposite, where I'm really interested in how it plays and that it has interesting shots, and that's what's important to me. So having that variety in your collection is important, and that's why when I had like Venom and Stranger Things, it kind of like Venom and Stranger Things, even though they're not the same game, but the shots are. It's like Stranger Things, it's left ramp, right ramp, Demogorgon, and the drop target. So the variety of that game is not really. There isn't like a huge variety. So that was one where I think I gravitated more toward it because I love Stranger Things. So that's one where I contradict myself because that one was more of a theme that I was really excited about because I love the series. And then Venom, those shots are all right in front of you. So, but Venom, where Venom gets me is the Insider Connected features and how you walk through the progression of the game, and then having those like boss battles, I found really engaging for me. But some people just don't like that game. It's weird. Like when I go to a bar arcade, or if I'm at the Electric Bat or wherever, people say they don't like Venom, but yet I always see a lot of people playing Venom. So maybe it was a better location game than an at-home game, but I don't know. It's just weird. This is a weird hobby in the sense that if someone starts, if a content creator and several content creators jump on a bandwagon, I think sometimes it has a negative influence on people's opinions of that game overall, and might even shy away. It might shy some people away from ever even trying it. I know people are like, oh, I can make up my own mind, and most people do, but I do think sometimes like a bad juju about a game can propagate, and the game may actually be a good game, and most people might like it, but it would shy people away. Like, I think John Wick has fallen victim to that big time, and I don't think the gun thing helped, even though the gun thing was way blown out of proportion. And anyway, we've talked about that ad nauseum, so I'm not going to go into that anymore. But yeah, that's the show for today. I appreciate everybody. I can't stress enough how honored I am to be a part of the TWIPYs this year. So I will be all about promoting, helping people get to the website to place their votes. Obviously, I'm gonna probably, if I am one of those categories, I'm definitely gonna encourage people to vote for me. That would be, oh my gosh, talk about it, the ultimate honor would be winning a TWIPY award myself. But hey, that's not what it's about. I am very excited to see who is gonna win, what manufacturers are gonna win, what games you guys vote for. So it's gonna be exciting. But I mean, hey, would I like to win a TWIPY? Hell yeah. But hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm new here, so that would be the ultimate honor. But and of course I'm gonna encourage you to vote for me if I am. I'm totally. Anyways, and I hope that some of you guys can join us there, because it'd be really awesome to have some of you there on site. I know it's limited to 40 right now. I don't know if there's plans to expand that, but so that's that. I also want to thank Zach and Nicole Many over at Flippin' Out Pinball. If you're looking for a pinball machine, new or used, go check out Flippin' Out Pinball. I will have information in the description of the video, so you can find Zach and Nicole. Great people, and they ship anywhere in the United States, so whatever you're looking for, they could probably get it for you. So that is it. That's a wrap. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Also, in the description, the website to leave me a voicemail. Leave me a voicemail. You guys are missing the boat on this. Like, it is exciting. I love getting them. Leave me one, man. I love it. No stress, no pressure. You're not live on the show. That's why I did it, because I felt like if it was live, people would be shy. There's no reason to be shy. You're talking to yourself, and I will play it here, and that's kind of cool, right? And so, yeah, any topic, whatever it is. By the way, yeah, never mind. I'm going down a rabbit hole now. All right. Hopefully, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you the flip side. Thanks, everybody. Before we officially go, a beloved member of the community unfortunately lost his wife this week, Todd Tucky. We love you, buddy. We're all here for you. And if you are listening to this and this is the first time you're hearing the news, I'm sure Todd would love a message, whether it be on Facebook, DM, whatever, just to show him and let him know you're thinking about him. Todd, we love you. Thank you for all that you do for the community. And we're with you in our hearts and minds during this tough time.